Cunningham. This is Roy Cunningham. And I discussed fruit and communism, and I was essentially talking about the role of United Fruit Company, which is now sort of kind of Chiquita Banana, in helping to stage the military coup in Guatemala in 1954. So essentially, what United Fruit did is a U.S. company, a lot of economic interest in the region. They also owned the railway and some other entities in Guatemala. Very, very interested in kind of maintaining their wealth. So they're telling the government, you know, this land that we own is maybe like $600,000, something like that. So they're paying very minimal taxes. Well, a new president comes in and he decides he wants to go through this agrarian reform process where he's basically distributing the land that United Fruit took from the peasants, from the Maya, from these people that are really poor, and he wants to redistribute that back to the peasants. And most of the land that he wanted to redistribute was land up in the highlands, up in the mountains, that really wasn't being cultivated by United Fruit anyway. And so he goes, you know, here's your $600,000, compensate for the land that you own. Well, United Fruit had an issue with this because the land was worth into the millions, you know, tens of millions. And so they essentially started this sort of PR campaign, if you will, against the president, our Benz, saying things like he was a communist, and of course, you know, into the 50s and 60s, we're getting really worried about communism, we're worried about Cuba, we don't want another communist country. I can kind of reflect back to being a first-year student during the September 11th, 2001 attacks, and shortly thereafter is when we kind of started the ethics teach-in, and I think I found it during that time to be very soothing, very comforting to kind of talk about some of these global issues. So I guess I always try to do a teach-in and try to tie it into the theme, because I think that, you know, so often some of our disciplines are misunderstood, or people don't understand, you know, some of the nuances of the discipline. And so for me to be able to talk about, you know, a 1954 coup d'etat in Guatemala as a communications scholar, I think was something that I really valued about Hiram, and I think that a student looking at coming here would think, oh, wow, that's pretty cool.